Hi, today we're looking at the three rebellions against God and man that Satan orchestrated. It begins in Genesis 1. Genesis 1. God created man in his likeness and image and placed them in a garden called Eden, specially created for them. They were Adam and Eve. Genesis 3. Man fell to the trickery of the devil, who appeared to them in the form of a serpent. He tricked them into eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which God had forbidden them to eat from. Only one command: do not eat from the tree or you'll surely die. Because of this act, sin was introduced. They were driven out of the garden, away from the tree of life, which they could eat from. The law of sin and death began. They were instantly spiritually dead, and natural death began, and eventually they died in the flesh as well. The first notable event was Cain's murder of his brother Abel. Adam and Eve had a third son later called Seth to carry on the righteous lineage. Genesis 6, it got worse. And I'll go to Jude verse 6. And I remind you of the angels who did not stay within the limits of authority God had given them, but left the place where they belong. God has kept them chained in prisons of darkness, waiting for the great and terrible, dreadful day of judgment. Evil continues as angels rebel. Watchers, about 200 of them, postured into heaven to guide and guard mankind, agreed to leave the place where God had placed them, the high estate, and had sex with women who gave birth to hybrids. They were not from God, so when they died, they were not redeemable. They became spirits without bodies. The Bible calls these devils, demons, familiar spirits, unclean and foul spirits. They try to influence the way we think, our thoughts of depression, suicide, murder, acts of immorality, to steal, to lie, and to cheat. Genesis 4 verse 7. The Lord tells Cain, do what is right. Sin is crouching at your door, eager to control you. You must subdue it and be master over it. It began to spread across the land. These hybrid influenced mankind. Wickedness spread everywhere. God thought of humans, their thoughts were constantly and totally evil. To stop this madness, a flood of water covered the earth. 8 human beings, Noah's family, and selected animals, birds, and reptiles were preserved on that ark. The rest of the animals and humans perished in the water. When the water receded, the earth began to replenish. Giants show up again, Genesis 10:25. In Genesis 11, people settle in the land of Babylonia under the king, a giant Nephilim called Nimrod, where they built a city and a tower to reach to heaven. The Lord condemned this action and confused the people with different languages. They stopped building and were scattered all over the world. The tower was called Babel. So people, that time of Peleg, the land was divided into continents. Deuteronomy 32 verse 8. When the Most High assigned lands to the nations, when he divided up the human races, he established the boundaries of the people according to the number of his heavenly court. New Living Translations. This translation agrees with the Dead Sea Scrolls. Is where the rulers and powers and principalities were assigned regions as well. That's a question. We read in Daniel 10 verse 20, spirit of the prince of the kingdom of Persia, and also the spirit of the prince of Greece. And Ephesians 3 verse 10, unseen rulers and authority in heavenly places. Ephesians 6 verse 12, we're fighting not against flesh enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, against evil spirits in heavenly places. Moses killed king of Bashan, believed to be 13 feet tall. David killed Goliath, and his men his mighty warriors killed 4 other giants. So more on this subject later. Thank you.